Hello, welcome to the 5th episode of the strategy game Warring Factions. So, the first thing I'd noticed when I checked this earlier was that Mike Amadon had destroyed a couple of my probes using command frigates, which automatically destroy probes. The research facility is done, and I'm quite happy with it because it's under 10 million credits, and it has what I needed was a 10 worker facility for about that price, so I'm happy. So I'll replicate this one building many times in the future because its price is good, and I only need teams that go up to the size of 10 for now. And there's a couple of great new scientists that have applied, so the first part of this video just consists of me sorting my scientists out, and first thing I need to do after this though is build new research facilities. However, my economy is going pretty good. The growth's great. The land mass increase is going good. I think it's 16. And as I hoped, my density's climbing quite well. And the wealth is stabilised quite well at 200. And by checking the income graph, I can see what's happened while I've been offline. It's steadily increasing. Back up to where it was before I built those mines. But look, now I have a lot of resources. So now I'll compare my density to the other colonies to see how my growth's been developing. And I've climbed up the chart a little bit. See, my density is good, as I'm saying. And if you compare my density to people with other similar density, they have quite a lot more people than me. The reason that all this is occurring is so that the technology index develops as fast as possible, and later on I'll show you how to dump massive amounts of population on one colony to increase its development index very fast so I can get huge teams of scientists. So now the research facilities, which I'll need 4 of, and I'll split my teams into about 5 in each. And I can swap them around, but this will be the main it'll be the main setup for the foreseeable future with their researching. So now I just want to show you something very important. To check there's no ongoing research projects before you demolish any research facilities, because if you demolish ones that there are scientists inside of, they die. The research project fails, so you can actually kill your scientists. But it creates a bug and they can still appear as being in the colony, but you can't do anything with them, so I wouldn't suggest trying it. Now I think I changed my mind a few times here, but I think I settled on 1 million credits as the new budget for training. There's quite a few different scientists there, and I want to separate out the top ones first, and I'm going to keep them on the side to train for research facilities. And one of the best training projects for research facilities is a terraformer, because it increases chemistry and physics. Even though one of these guys is quite good with his mining skill, the other stats put him in the category along with this team in particular. So he won't be training on mines, funnily enough, but you need to make choices like that when you cut people into different groups. And then this is what the notes are for, to remind you, and you can select the groups next time for the next project really easily by sorting them by the group. I'm missing some weapons skill here. And what else? Probably top up the physics again to train. But also maybe processing, because we want to keep it all cheap. But ultimately, these are just the beginner intermediate scientists. They will grow eventually to be the best scientists because they will have been training longer, but I still haven't got the last, say, 5 to 10 that will occur in the last 300% of the index growth. But the faster the index grows, the less scientists you actually get from it, but they're better. So it works out. If you keep hiring from a colony and don't develop the index, it just keeps generating crappy scientists. Now, what I really need is a survey hull. So my next job was to create a team that does hulls, like ship hulls, just in general. You can specify between military and non-military ones, like transport and that, but it doesn't really matter at this point. I could fill up this facility with researchers, but that extra time it adds to the project outweighs the benefit of it. So you're better off to have groups of 6 and only use larger groups if necessary. And if you're trying to do something extra special, just like this, I need this surveyor to check out, to set up a sensor net, which I'll do in the next episode. But I will design a current surveyor and build some and send them out. So now these last 2 research teams are just, luck of the draw, because they're all pretty much as bad as each other. I choose 2 mines that I know I'm going to need to use. Now bear in mind, I'm doing this to just show you what it would be like if this was the start of the round and I couldn't get help, say that I was going to be helping with the top tech, so this is the approach I'm using. I could just ask people for help, but that would defeat the point of showing you. Now I'll have to wait to another episode, of course, for those, and we'll go from there. But for now, I'll do this survey design. And you'll get familiar with this. As long as you stick to a pattern, it's not really difficult to create a fleet. Yeah, it's good to have some guidelines, so hopefully I can create some good guidelines with that. So now that I don't have any choice but to use this hull and this basic booster. So for naming my ship classes, I use the bracketed MT for max minus 3x, and S stands for surveyor and 1.0 because it's the first iteration. And I may do say several updates to say 1.5 until I have an entire fleet that's at 1, and then I'll switch it up to 2 and then do some minor updates on some of them at point something. So here, the workers, right? If you can get the workers to finish the project under the time it takes to finish the day, you can exploit the game and not pay wages, which people do because it's just, people have been doing it. And anyway, that's 5 million credits and wages to build those 5 surveyors, even though they only cost 2.5 million. Oh no, they cost 2.5 million each. Oh, the way it's expensive. And if you're building huge fleets, and like say if you're building 10,000 battleships, you're gonna like, once you've built them, then it just drains your money because of upkeep. So you got to mathematically figure out your steps ahead of time. Otherwise, you'll screw your economy over. Just like a real one. And now, just to keep it simple, in my screen, when the fleets display, this is what name will appear. And that's just S for surveyor. I do that, like if I have a Corvette, I'll put CV. If I have a destroyer, the abbreviation is DD. A battleship abbreviation is BB, which is lingo within the game. So if people use those abbreviations, that's what they mean. You can find a list of those in the wiki. Now, to set up the net, this is the way you do it. From one location manually, and you type in the self coordinates. And now I'm just going to type out to show you what each coordinate means. So every time you add 1 to this coordinate value, you move 4,000 kilometers. And so if you move 2,000 points, you're actually moving the ship 8 million kilometers. So I'm going to change the number by 4,000 to get it close to its maximum range of 20,000 kilometers, because it's got a real bad engine. But that's just like generally close enough for me to guesstimate and get it up, get the grid up. There's no need to go too hard out with it. And you can just send them towards planets and then abort the mission halfway. You don't have to do it like this either. But so what I'm doing is using my brain and my eyes, and I'm picking out the numbers. It's quite funny, I had a job where all this stuff actually come in handy. All this picking numbers out of lists. I was working at the post office sorting courier parcels. And so you'd need to scan the barcode, literally turn yourself into a human barcode scanner. And that was a cool job up until the virus happened. And then I quit before it had a chance to kill me, because I'm a long time smoker. So if I get that, she's all over. And now, see, you got to keep yourself busy when you're doing these repetitive tasks, because this game consists of a bit of this. I mean, if you stick to small fleets, you don't really. It doesn't take much time to play the game. You can only have to put in a few minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour. Yet you can spend entireties of weeks at a time on this game if you have the time and patience. It's one or the other. So now you can see the trajectory of my 4 surveyors, and I've actually sent 2 of them to the same location by accident. And then what I'm going to do is scan through the list and look at the target destination and compare the numbers and find which ones are going to the same place, which are the middle few. And then I just simply have to change the destination. So I abort the mission and repaste the coordinates, and then subtract 10 or add 10 to the final value, or any of them really. And that will move it literally just to the edge of the system entrance. Like you can see that green dot now on it. And in the next episode, I will set them up as a net, and it will double their scan range. And then I'll be able to get a list of all the ships in proximity of this system. So I can log on, do a scan, check to see if there's any enemy fleets worthwhile paying attention to, and if there aren't, I could just log off. So it's a fun game if you get into it, if you haven't got anything else to do. Like if you've got a wife, she'll probably be pissed because she'll think you're having an affair, but you're just having a mathematical affair with this game. So here there's two different times displayed for the same time, so that's 3 days versus 90 on the other chart, but it means the same thing, and that's going to take 90 minutes to transfer. So that's the episode, and thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.